Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Sit comfortably because today we have another set of crazy stories for you to enjoy. Here we go. My revenge on promoter who thought paying me was optional. In the music industry, certainly the production side of things, we've all done crappy gigs. The sort of gigs that you know from the moment you get booked that it's not going to be fun. Being a female in this industry, this sometimes works in my favor, sometimes not. So I get a call from a promoter who wants to put on a show locally, and I get recommended to supply all the sound. I run a small PA rental company. I ask the usual questions: what's the load in, load out time? What's the technical spec of the band? What's your budget, etc. We agree a fee after 30 minutes of telephone negotiating. We're both happy with this fee. It was £1,500, which is very reasonable for the personnel and equipment being provided. The only thing I always insist on when I'm working for somebody I don't know or have never worked with before is that I require cleared funds upon arrival at event location, a phrase that I rattle off many times a year, and I've never had any issues. Me or my crew bring £50,000 worth of gear to your event, will sometimes even start setting it up. But as soon as possible, you need to pay us. So this promoter showed us where to load into this theater/concert hall type venue, while my guys were walking around the venue checking the usual things like mains outlet, PA flying points, etc. I took the promoter to one side and produced my printed invoice and said my usual spiel. Me: I know you're real busy, we need to start setting up, so if you can sort payment now, then I don't need to bother you again. He did the whole looking guilty at his shoes routine. Promoter: I don't have all your money right now. I'm waiting for my business partner. He has your money. He has it all. Can you wait for him to arrive? Me: Okay, it's not a problem. What time is he due to arrive? Promoter: Around an hour or two before doors open. He has to set up the bar, so he won't be later than this. Me: Look, I've not worked with you, but in the spirit of future business relations, I will take payment in full anytime before the start of the show. Promoter: Thanks. He has the money. It won't be a problem. Me: LOL, I know. But if I don't have the money before the start of the show, then I'm not turning the PA on. I said it jokingly, but with a stern face. So my guys set everything up. We work efficiently for the next few hours. The band arrives, and we all get on well together. They are friends of the promoter and don't seem as bothered about the money as we do. I mentioned that this was the first show with this promoter, and the drummer, who was the informal leader of the band, said the promoter has a different sound company every time they gig. This gives me and the two crew guys cause to look at each other uneasily. We finish sound check, and as this band heads to their dressing room, we sit around stage left watching the audience spill in. Showtime is T-minus 1 hour. I see the promoter hanging around stage right, so I pop over to see him. Hey, promoter, everything okay so far? Happy with everything? Yes, very happy. Everything's perfect. Band says sound check went well. Looking forward to the show. That's good. Let's get payment out of the way and I can leave you alone to enjoy the show. Listen, ticket sales have been slow for this show. Can I pay you afterwards? I thought you had sold $1,200. At £20 a head, that makes at least $24,000. You should have more than enough to pay. I'm being kind, but very firm. I'm sorry, but you need to sort out payment before the show. We've trucked £50,000 worth of gear here. We've even set it all up, and so far, you've had all this for free. Sorry, but I can't do the show without payment up front. Once we've done a few shows together and we've built up some trust, then I can help you out, but this is our first show and I have rules. Sorry. Promoter: Okay, let me see what I can do. T-minus 10 minutes to showtime. My team is ready to go, but we're anxious by now about the dodgy promoter. The band are with us, stage left, and ready to go on stage. They know the situation. They know we've not been paid yet, but they don't seem that bothered. They're friends with the promoter and seem to side with him. I'm almost thinking about starting the show and getting the money afterwards, but I stop myself. Don't break your rule, I tell myself. Showtime, T-minus 1 minute. The promoter comes over stage left, tells the band to go on stage. He'll intro them on. My team are all in position behind the mixing desks, etc., to go on my say-so. I tug the promoter's shirt by his elbow and look quizzically at him. Where's the payment? I ask. Yeah, let's get the band on stage, and I nip and get it for you while they're on. Me. But as promoter walks on stage, whoa, I call after him, almost shouting. I'm furious. I know that it's almost impossible to kill the audio mid-show and that a riot may well break out if I did this. Much easier to not put myself in the position to start with. I glance over at the front-of-house engineer who's looking at me for guidance. I did the classic flat hand draw across the throat signal for kill it. Both my audio guys hit the global mutes on their desks, and the promoter walks over to the center of the stage and speaks into the microphone. But nothing comes out. Utter effing silence. The crowd boos, they cheer, they boo again. The promoter looks over at me angrily side stage. I gesture to him, rubbing my fingers together in the other internationally recognized gesture of, pay me my effing money. Things are about to get heated, so I grab a mic we have set up side stage, but out of sight of the audience. We call them voice of God mics or emergency mics. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, but due to a foreseeable hitch, this show will be delayed by 5 minutes. Cue audience chanting and lots of tension building up. A lot of sweat dripping from the promoter instantly for fear of his reputation. No word of a lie, I had full payment, in cash, in my hand within 3 minutes. The show went ahead and I went on to do several other shows with this promoter. He never tried to screw me again. And our next story. So I got fired from my job. I had 2 jobs. One was at this country ice house in BF nowhere outside of my city. This place was pretty small, but was one of the few bars in a certain area, so it'd get busy. A lot of good old boys and oil field guys. I worked the door, checked IDs and such, and usually broke up fights or kicked people out. The owner of this place was very hands-on. He liked to micromanage everything. Didn't want me to kick people out unless they were throwing punches, and even then to try to talk to them. Never cut anyone off. Had that always be selling attitude. One night some trouble happens between some regulars, and one guy tries to hit another guy with a pool stick. I happened to get hit in the arm, but got behind the guy and put him to sleep. Next day, the manager calls me to tell me I'm being let go. Apparently, pool stick guy spends a lot of money, and me putting him to sleep left him bitter, so he called the owner. That's fine. Anyway, the bar has a nice fancy jukebox. If you have the app, you can just pick songs on your credit card and they'll play. If you hit play next on a song, even if they turn the jukebox off, it'll play when it starts back up. It's also unskippable. With the master remote, you could also skip a song, but they lost that remote, so they really can't do much if someone plays a certain song they don't like. And even if they unplug it, it'll play no matter what when they turn it on. Here's my petty revenge. The owner does inventory every Tuesday night. It also happens to be a busy night because they do pool tournaments and it usually gets packed. So here I thought I could probably just play the same song over and over. There's nothing they can really do. I got $20 in credits, and that usually gives you about 18 unskippable songs, plus more depending if the app gives you credits. I picked a remix of Cotton Eye Joe. It comes in at around 7 minutes a pop, usually when the pool tournament started. 2 hours of hearing the same song has killed their business on Tuesdays. Even if they unplug it, it still plays when they plug it back in. I've been doing it for 2 months so far. Last I heard, they had to buy a new jukebox that cost $5,000. I'll probably stop for a month, then start again. I'm an a-hole, I guess. And our last story. Check the property line before I build? Okie dokie. The cast. You, my uncle, and C, neighbor's children. So a few years ago, my uncle wanted to add an extension to the side of his house where his yard went round the side a bit. He asked the neighbor, who's actually a really lovely older man, who said, sure, feel free, and my uncle started to work. Unfortunately, the neighbor got ill, and his demon seed, NC, started coming over when they saw that my uncle was building close to the neighbor's side yard. They were furious. They immediately asked him to stop, which my uncle did, and the NC insisted he was building on the neighbor's property. Now, my uncle is a really, really nice guy. So to avoid any issues, he offered to buy the part of the yard he was going to extend to and offered a reasonable $5,000 for it. It wasn't that big of a patch. The demon NC got greedy and refused, so my uncle, being the gentleman, doubled it and offered $10,000 as he thought it was easier than going through the hassle of lawyers and property lines, etc., but the NC still refused. NC: "You're crossing my dad's property line and you can't build on it. Either give us more money or stop building. We want to sell this house when he's gone." Yep, they were waiting for the sweet neighbor to die so they could sell his house. Uncle: "I think $10K is fair enough. I'm not using that much and it's close to my part of the property." NC: "No, it's not. Check the property lines. You are way past our property line. Offer us more money or stop building." You: "Are you sure you don't want to take the money?" NC scoffs: "Not what you're offering. Check the property lines, love." Yep, we're British, sorry. So my uncle complied with their wishes and stopped all building work. It was on their property after all. Or was it? This is where the malicious compliance comes in. He did exactly what the NC asked and got the original plans for both properties, still have no idea how, and checked the property line to see how it was divided. Well, wouldn't you know, he wasn't on their property line. They were on his. With a massive smile, my uncle went to the neighbors the next time the NC was around and kindly showed them the plans of their properties, clearly showing where the properties were divided. Their faces when they realized they'd not only missed out on an easy $10K, they had in fact lost their dad about a quarter of his yard. It was priceless. They had to move the fence, and my uncle got to build his extension stress-free. Moral of the story: if you want to build and the neighbor's kids insist you should check the property lines, do it. You might just save some money and gain some land. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.